Once upon a time, in a quaint, vibrant village, lived a young boy named Chidi. Chidi was known for his helpful nature, but he didn't have much. His parents had passed away when he was very young, leaving him to be raised by his auntie Isioma. The villagers knew Chidi as the boy who wore hand-me-downs and never complained. But one morning, as Chidi was sweeping the front yard, he noticed a bundle at his doorstep. To his surprise, it was a new pair of sandals and a basket of delicious fruits. He had never seen such nice sandals or ripe fruits before. "Wow!" Chidi exclaimed, touching the sandals and looking at the fruits. He wondered who could have left them. Not everyone was happy for Chidi. His auntie Isioma's daughter, Hada, who was always a bit envious, saw Chidi with his new things. She crossed her arms and marched over to him. "Hey, Chidi! Where did you get those nice sandals and fruits from? Who gave them to you?" Ada demanded. Chidi, taken aback by her question, just smiled. He had no idea who had left the gifts. "I don't know, Ada. I just found them here this morning," he replied. Ada frowned, not satisfied with his answer. You must tell me if you find out," she insisted, trying to peek into the basket of fruits. "Okay," Chidi nodded, still smiling. He was too happy with his new sandals and fruits to be bothered by Hada's jealousy. He put on his new sandals and shared some of the fruits with his friends, who thanked him with big smiles. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of a wonderful mystery. The next day, Chidi, wearing his new sandals, walked to the village square where the villagers gathered to chat and trade. He felt proud and joyful, but some villagers weren't pleased to see him so cheerful. As he passed by, an elder named Papa Eze, who was known for his strictness, stopped him. "Chidi, where did you get those fine sandals?" Papa Eze asked loudly. "We all know you don't have much money. Did you take them without asking?" Chidi's face turned red with embarrassment. "No, sir," he said quickly. "Someone left them at my doorstep. I don't know who." Some villagers began to whisper, casting doubtful glances at Chidi. "He must be lying," one said. "How can someone just give such nice things for no reason?" another added. Papa Eze shook his head. "Chidi, we need to know the truth. It's not good to take things without knowing where they come from. You must find out who gave these to you and tell us," he said firmly. Chidi nodded, feeling both sad and scared. He didn't like how everyone was looking at him. "I will try to find out," he promised softly as he walked away. The whispers followed him, and Chidi felt a heavy weight in his heart. What started as a happy surprise now felt like a big problem. He wondered who could have given him these gifts and why it was causing so much trouble. After the commotion in the village square, Chidi felt very downcast. His steps were heavy as he walked home with his head down. Then he heard a familiar, friendly voice call his name. "Chidi!" Looking up, he saw Uncle Obi, one of the kindest villagers, standing by a tree. Uncle Obi was known for his warm smile and big heart. "Come here, Chidi. Don't mind the harsh words. Let's talk," Uncle Obi said, waving him over. Chidi walked over, feeling a bit better already. Uncle Obi led him into his cozy house and sat him down at a large wooden table. He brought Chidi a plate of yummy food, some jollof rice, and a piece of fried fish that smelled delicious. "Eat, Chidi. You look like you need cheering up," he said with a smile. As Chidi ate, Uncle Obi sat beside him. "I heard what happened in the village," he began. "It's not fair for them to treat you that way. I know you're honest and good. Whatever is happening with these gifts, I'm sure there's a good explanation." Chidi nodded, feeling a lump in his throat growing smaller as he listened to Uncle Obi's kind words. "Thank you, Uncle Obi. I really don't know who left the gifts, but I will try to find out," he said, his voice still shaky. Uncle Obi patted his back gently. "Don't worry, Chidi. I'll help you figure this out. And until we do, I'll make sure no one bothers you. You're not alone in this," he promised. Chidi looked at Uncle Obi, feeling grateful for his kindness. "Thank you, Uncle Obi. It means a lot to me to have a friend like you, he said, his heart feeling lighter. Uncle Obi just smiled, his eyes twinkling. That's what friends are for, he said. Now finish up that food and don't worry. We'll solve this mystery together. Feeling safer and much happier, Chidi finished his meal. The warmth from the food and Uncle Obi's kindness filled him with hope. He knew that with Uncle Obi by his side, he could face whatever came next. Days went by, and Chidi kept wearing his new sandals and sharing his fruits with his friends. The mystery of the gifts, however, remained unsolved. At home, Auntie Isioma and Ada continued to pester him about the origin of the gifts. Chidi, you're hiding something, Auntie Isioma would say sternly. Good things don't just happen without a reason, Ada would add, her tone mocking. Every morning, Chidi would wake up early, complete his chores, fetch water from the well, and help in the fields. Despite his hard work, his aunt and cousin remained unhappy with him, making him feel small because he couldn't reveal the source of the gifts. But sometimes, as Chidi went about his day, the mysterious benefactor would leave small gifts for him, a ripe mango, a beautiful flower. These acts of kindness were like tiny lights in his dark days, reminding him that goodness still existed in the world. One evening, after a particularly tiring day, Chidi sat by the river, watching the water flow and thinking about the kind stranger. Why are they so nice to me? He wondered aloud. He didn't know who they were, but their kindness was a comfort to his aching heart. Despite the harsh words from Auntie Isioma and Hada, Chidi chose to be like the kind stranger. He would share his fruits with the little children and tell them stories under the big baobab tree. Be kind, he would say, even when others are not kind to you. The children listened, their eyes wide, learning from Chidi's gentle strength. One morning, Chidi woke up to find another surprise waiting at his doorstep. This time, it was a small drum and a colorful hat. The drum had beautiful carvings on it, and the hat was made from vibrant fabrics. Chidi looked around, hoping to catch a glimpse of the mysterious benefactor, but the street was quiet and empty. Who could it be? He wondered aloud, feeling both excited and puzzled. He picked up the gifts and brought them inside, his heart fluttering with joy and curiosity. Later that day, while Chidi was at the marketplace, he wore his new hat. It was comfortable and made him feel proud. Nice hat, Chidi, said one of the market sellers, winking at him. Chidi just smiled and nodded, feeling a bit secretive. He didn't want to stir up more questions or rumors in the village. When he returned home, Chidi played a happy tune on his new drum, the rhythmic beats filling the air. As he played, he thought about his mysterious benefactor. Why are they being so kind to me? What do they want in return? He mused, but no clear answers came to mind. That evening, as the sun set and painted the sky in shades of orange and pink, Chidi sat outside his home, playing his drum and wearing his new hat. The gifts felt like a bridge to something wonderful, yet unknown. As he played, he saw Uncle Obi passing by and waved him over. Uncle Obi, look at this, he said, showing him the drum and the hat. They appeared at my doorstep this morning. Uncle Obi raised his eyebrows, impressed. These are beautiful, Chidi, but do you still not know who is giving you these gifts? He asked. Chidi shook his head. No, and it's both wonderful and a bit frightening. I wish I knew why or who, he replied. Uncle Obi nodded thoughtfully. Well, whoever it is, they seem to care about you a lot. Just be careful, Chidi. We don't know their intentions yet. I will, Chidi promised, his voice firm. He felt a bit safer with Uncle Obi knowing about the gifts. At least someone else could help him watch out for any strange happenings. As night fell, Chidi went inside, his new hat and drum close by. The mystery of the gifts was as deep and soft as the night air, but a warm glow of gratitude filled his heart. The world felt a little more magical with each unseen bond that tied him to his secret helper. Weeks passed, and the village buzzed with talk of Chidi's mysterious gifts. Every time he appeared at the marketplace or near the well wearing his new hat or playing his drum, whispers followed him like shadows. At the village well, where women gathered to fetch water and share the day's news, the gossip grew louder. "Have you seen Chidi's latest drum?" one woman whispered as she pulled up her bucket. "Someone must be very fond of him to give him such gifts." "Yes, but who?" another woman chimed in, her eyes wide with curiosity. "He keeps saying he doesn't know who it is, but how can someone receive so many gifts and not know from whom?" A third woman, older and more stern, clucked her tongue. "It's strange, very strange. Such things don't happen without reason. There might be a secret, or maybe he's not telling us everything." Meanwhile, at the marketplace, the men shared their own theories. "I heard he got a new hat," one man said, leaning over a stall selling spices. "Maybe it's someone from another village who's taken a liking to him." "Or maybe," another man added, his voice dropping to a hush, "it's someone among us, someone who's too shy to come forward." Uncle Obi, overhearing the conversation while buying vegetables, felt a mix of irritation and concern. He knew the rumors could be hurtful and even dangerous if they spiraled out of control. After making his purchases, he decided to find Chidi and talk to him about the growing gossip. He found Chidi at his small garden, tending to his plants. "Chidi," Uncle Obi began, his tone serious, "the talk about your gifts has spread through the entire village. People are getting more curious, and some are even suspicious." Chidi sighed, setting down his gardening tools. "I know, Uncle Obi. I hear the whispers. It's getting harder to ignore. I wish I knew who is doing this so I could explain it to everyone." Uncle Obi nodded. "Just be careful, Chidi. Gossip can turn friends into foes. If there's anything you can do to find out who your benefactor is, now might be the time to try. Otherwise, this talk might lead to trouble." Chidi looked around his lush garden, his haven of peace amidst the swirl of rumors. "I'll try, Uncle Obi. Maybe there's a way to discover who it is without asking directly. I'll think of something." As Uncle Obi left, he looked back at Chidi, who was gazing thoughtfully at his flowers. He hoped Chidi would find a way to solve the mystery soon, for the sake of his peace and reputation in the village. Meanwhile, the gossip at the well and the marketplace spun on, weaving a complicated web around the simple life Chidi wished to lead. One evening, as the sky turned a deep blue and stars began to twinkle, Chidi heard a firm knock on his door. His heart skipped a beat as he opened it to find Auntie Isioma standing there, her face stern and her brows furrowed with concern. "Chidi," Auntie Isioma began without waiting to be invited in, stepping into his small home. "This talk of mysterious gifts has reached my ears too often. It's time you tell me what's going on. Who is giving you these gifts?" Chidi felt a chill of fear. He knew his aunt cared for him, but her temper was quick and her old-fashioned beliefs firm. "Auntie, I truly don't know who it is," he replied earnestly, his hands nervously twisting the hem of his new shirt. "They leave them at my doorstep without a name or note." Auntie Isioma's eyes narrowed as she scanned the room, noticing the new items that had not been there on her last visit. "You expect me to believe that someone, a stranger perhaps, is showering you with gifts, and you have no idea who they might be? People are talking, Chidi. They are saying things that could tarnish your reputation." The weight of her words hung heavily in the air. Chidi knew the villagers respected Auntie Isioma, and her opinion could sway their judgment about him. "I understand, Auntie," he said, his voice small. "But I speak the truth. I have not sought these gifts. I have done nothing wrong." Auntie Isioma paced the floor, her hands behind her back, deep in thought. Finally, she stopped and faced him. "Chidi, you are like a son to me since your parents passed. I do not want to see you harmed by idle gossip or ill intentions. If you cannot find this person and put an end to these rumors, I will have to take matters into my own hands." Chidi felt panic rise within him, rise. Please, Auntie, give me a little more time. I will try to find out who it is. I will ask around discreetly, he pleaded, hoping to ease her concerns and gain control of the situation. Auntie Isioma sighed, the lines of her face softening slightly. Very well, Chidi. You have until the end of the month. If by then you haven't discovered who is behind this, I will speak to the village elders. We must protect our family's name. With that, Auntie Isioma left, leaving Chidi alone with his thoughts and fears. He knew he had to act quickly. The mystery of his benefactor, once a source of joy, had become a looming threat to his place within the community. As he resumed his dinner preparations, his mind raced with possible ways to uncover the identity of his benefactor. He decided he would start by talking to his friends and neighbors, hoping to gather clues. The next day, Chidi went to see his friend Namdi, who worked at the marketplace. Namdi, have you noticed anyone unusual or seen anything strange lately? He asked, trying to sound casual. Namdi shook his head. No, Chidi, but I did hear from the weaver that someone bought a lot of fabric last month. Maybe that could be a clue. Encouraged by this small lead, Chidi visited the weaver. Good day, Ma, he greeted her politely. I heard you had a large purchase of fabric recently. Do you remember who it was for? The weaver, a kind old woman with sharp eyes, thought for a moment. Yes, a young man bought the fabric. He said it was for a special project but didn't give many details. He seemed secretive. Chidi thanked her and continued his search. He asked around the village, discreetly piecing together bits of information. Slowly, a picture began to form in his mind, though it was still incomplete. One evening, Chidi decided to stay awake and watch his doorstep. He sat quietly in the shadows, listening to the night sounds. Just as he was about to give up and go inside, he heard soft footsteps approaching. He held his breath, heart pounding. A figure emerged from the darkness, carrying a small bundle. As the figure stepped into the moonlight, Chidi recognized him. It was Emeka, a quiet boy from the neighboring village. Chidi stepped forward, startling Emeka, who nearly dropped the bundle. Emeka, Chidi called softly. Why are you doing this? Emeka looked down, shuffling his feet. I'm sorry, Chidi. I didn't mean to cause trouble. My sister and I noticed how kind you were to the children and how hard you worked despite your aunt's harshness. We wanted to help, but we were too shy to approach you directly. Chidi's heart swelled with gratitude and relief. Thank you, Emeka. You have no idea how much your kindness has meant to me. But the villagers are talking, and my aunt is worried. We need to clear this up before it gets worse. Emeka nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. I will come with you to your aunt tomorrow and explain everything, he promised. The next morning, Chidi and Emeka went to Auntie Isioma's house. Emeka explained how he and his sister had been the ones leaving gifts for Chidi. Auntie Isioma listened quietly, her stern expression softening as Emeka spoke. When he finished, Auntie Isioma sighed. Emeka, you and your sister have shown great kindness to Chidi. I am grateful for that. But in the future, it's better to be open about such things to avoid misunderstandings. Emeka nodded. I'm sorry, Auntie Isioma. We will be more open in the future. The village soon learned the truth, and the rumors dissipated. Chidi's reputation was restored, and people admired the bond between him and his new friends. Auntie Isioma, though still strict, became more understanding and supportive of Chidi's efforts to be kind and helpful. Chidi continued to share his fruits and play his drum under the big baobab tree, telling stories to the children and teaching them about kindness and generosity. The mystery of the gifts had been solved, but the magic of the unexpected kindness lingered, enriching the lives of everyone in the village. Chidi learned that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness could create ripples that touched many hearts. And in the end, it wasn't the mystery of the gifts that mattered most, but the friendships and understanding they had brought into his life.